Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Gold with your daily analysis for Tuesday, 4th of November. I'm recording the video today, just gone 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was expecting upwards movement. We do have a green candlestick and a slight increase in upward momentum at the hourly chart level, which all fits the main wave count correctly. However, it's not really completely convincing. If we start to see some pretty strong upward movement, though, I will be convinced that that main wave count is probably right, and I'll be expecting more upward movement for a total Fibonacci 8 or 13 days to the target at 1278 to 1281. At this stage, it's still most likely that the trend at minor degree at this stage is upwards. Let's have a look at the wave counts. And I haven't been able to fix that cursor size. I'm still working on it. Hopefully I'll have a solution for that by tomorrow. I'm aware it's too small. All of my wave counts see primary wave 4 over here. At the weekly chart level, that gives the wave count a textbook perfect look. Primary wave 2 was a deep rear running flat lasting 53 weeks. Primary wave 4, if it's over here as I expect it is a regular contracting triangle, and it's shallow, lasting 54 weeks. So there's perfect alternation and almost perfect proportion between primary waves 2 and 4. So if primary 4 ends here, this is where primary 5 begins, and at 956.97 it would reach equality in length with primary wave 1. There's a 1.618 price ratio between primary waves 1 and 3, so if 1 and 5 were to reach equality, that would be a perfect Elliott relationship for this downward impulse. However, as I keep warning, if this target is wrong, it's going to be too low. I think the target is actually better calculated at intermediate degree. So when intermediate waves 1 through to 4 within primary 5 are complete, I will recalculate the target. At that point in time it may change, and if it does change it will probably move upwards. Because when triangles take their time and move price close to the apex, the black trend lines here are the triangle trend lines from primary wave 4. When price moves close to the triangle apex before it breaks out of the trend lines, as this one did, then the movement that follows the triangle is often more weak and brief than you'd otherwise expect it to be. Here's a perfect example of what I mean. Here we have a small fourth wave triangle, and it was followed by a short, brief little fifth wave. That was surprising in how quickly it was over and how short it was. It did not reach equality in length with the first wave. We may be about to see that again happen here at primary degree. So far, I do not think intermediate wave 2 is over. If it was over here as a double zigzag, it would be far too brief. It's much more likely that it's continuing further as a very common expanded flat correction, subdividing 3, 3, and we need a 5 up. At 1278, minor wave C will reach 1.618, the length of minor wave A. That's just $3 below the 0.618 Fibonacci ratio for intermediate wave 1, which is just below 1281. I'll be looking initially for minor wave C to either last a total Fibonacci 8 or 13 days. So far, it's only lasted 2, so it might continue for another 6 or 11 days with upwards movement toward the target. That's pretty common for gold for its waves to exhibit durations that are Fibonacci numbers, so that's what I'll look out for. Let's have a look at the main hourly wave count with the end of minor B down here, is this point down here. My only problem again with this wave count is this unconvincing, slow, sluggish sideways movement, although we do have a wee increase in upward momentum from MACD. I've checked the subdivisions of all of these first waves on the 5-minute chart, and they can all be seen as 5-wave structures. I need to move my label for 2 over a little bit there. So far, it looks like we might have a series of 3 overlapping first and second waves unfolding here. This is actually really common for the beginning of an impulse. Once we move toward the middle of the impulse, we should start to see a good strong increase in upward momentum. At 1193, minuet wave 3 would reach 2.618, the length of minuet wave 1, and that target, if this wave count's correct, should be met within maybe 24 hours or possibly slightly longer, but most likely within the next trading day. I'm going to leave the invalidation point right down here though. No second wave correction may move beyond the start of the first wave below 1161.26. If we see at any stage movement above 1222.58, the alternate daily wave counts, there are two of them, would be invalidated at that point. Price movement above this level would give me full and final confidence in this main wave count and full and final confidence in the target. Alternatively, it's all the same to this point here, here and here. This is the alternate hourly wave count, and it's absolutely identical from here, here and here, and then I've moved the degree of labelling here down 1 degree and here down 1 degree. What if we have 1, 2, 3 was over here and 4 was over here? But today, this alternate idea has a hugely reduced probability. I think it has a very, very low probability, because now there is a gross disproportion between the duration of this fourth wave at 33 hours and its counterpart second wave here at only 1 hour. That gross disproportion substantially reduces the probability of this idea. If we see a new low below 1161.26 at this stage, I think I would prefer either of the alternate daily wave counts. No, I don't like this alternate hourly wave count anymore at all. At 1155, mini-wet wave 5 would reach 2.618, the length of mini-wet 1, and that would take minor B just slightly below the maximum common length of A, which is at 1156, where it's 138% the length of minor A. The invalidation point's at the same point. The fourth wave can't move into first wave price territory above 1228.02, but if this continues any further and we see more upward movement, I'm going to discard this alternate idea. It just has all the wrong look. At the daily chart level, this is my first alternate wave count. It's absolutely identical to the main wave count right up to this point here, and all the subdivisions are seen in the same way. I've just moved the degree of labelling within this upward double zigzag all up 1 degree. What if intermediate wave 2 was over here? Still, the biggest problem with this idea is intermediate wave 2 here is a 45% correction of intermediate wave 1, so it's relatively shallow. That's not such a big problem. It's slightly unusual, but it's acceptable. The problem is the proportion. Intermediate wave 2 here would have lasted only 11 days compared to the 62 days, I think, for intermediate wave 1. Intermediate wave 2 would not be over so quickly. Well, that it could, but that's really unlikely. So I think this wave count has a pretty low probability. If intermediate wave 3 has begun here, then at 993 it would reach 1.618, the length of intermediate wave 1. Within it, we may have 1, 2, 3 and 4 probably complete, and the final fifth wave down might be beginning. This fourth wave may not move into first wave price territory if it were to continue. That's why movement above 1222.58 would invalidate this alternate wave count and provide me with so much confidence in the main wave count. And the final target for primary 5 is exactly the same. But as I said, this is too brief for an intermediate degree correction. It has a really low probability. The alternate is identical to the main wave count right up to this point here, and then I've moved the degree of labelling here and here up 1 degree, and I've seen this downward movement as a complete 5-wave impulse. If the fourth wave here is a double zigzag, it belongs to the same family as the second wave. It's a single zigzag. That would be really unusual to see a second wave zigzag and a fourth wave double zigzag, both of them deep corrections. Gold usually exhibits better alternation than that. The lack of alternation in both depth and structure substantially reduces the probability of this wave count. 1, 2, 3 and ABC subdivide in exactly the same way. So for these alternate wave counts, I'm seeing this as an unfolding impulse. For the main wave count, I'm seeing it as a complete zigzag, and this is the price point with which differentiates them. Upward movement can't be a fourth wave correction if it moves above 1222.58, and so invalidation of these alternates would give me a lot of confidence with the main wave count. At 1116, intermediate wave 5 would reach equality in length with intermediate wave 1. and at 1101 minor wave 5 would reach equality in length with minor wave 3. That's a somewhat wide $15 target zone. It's a bit too big to be useful, so once we get more structure within minor 5, if this wave count proves itself to be correct with more downward movement, then I would narrow that target zone using a third wave degree to calculate the target once we have enough structure within the final fifth wave down to do that. That's all for me today with your gold analysis, and I hope all our members are having an awesome day.